Welcome back to Always Learning. And what are we doing today? Well, we're learning about charcuterie boards. These are a couple charcuterie boards that I made. Charcuterie actually means spiced meat. I know a lot of times they'll use them for cheese, for fruit, and other things that you can lay out for friends to kind of decorate it. These are live edge from black walnut, and I'm going to show you how basically to make them. This is one. This is a board that I've got from a slab. It's rustic. You could actually, really, it's got the live edge still on it, still got the bark. You could really come back and just put mineral oil over it and it'd be good to go. But the way you want to cut these things is I cut it with a chainsaw. I've got what's called an Alaskan chainsaw mill where it sets on here and it runs the chainsaw going this way. If you don't have one, you could literally take a chainsaw, pretend that this is a big round stump. And you could do it a couple ways. You could lay the stump down, you'd want to secure it, and you'd cut it this way with the chainsaw, and then you'd flip it over and just cut it again horizontally. Or you could actually take a stump, secure it to another board, and then literally take a chainsaw and just come down one side, and then take the chainsaw and come down the other side, and then simply cut it off where you want it across here. And then you'd have it. What I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to actually take the live edge off the bark and still leave it where it's kind of like where it's going to be like this one, where you can still see where the bark's gone, but you can still see the beautiful part of the wood. Kind of give it that live edge look. But I'm going to take this off, and then I'm actually going to try to do more of a curved wood handle where it's going to come up and come like this. Most of the tools that you're going to need for it, you're going to need a putty knife to kind of chip off the bark with some kind of like a rubber mallet or just a hammer, and you're just going to softly peel off this bark. Then you're going to need to sand it. And if you have a friend that has a planer, then you can simply run it through the planer. Now, most planers that people have at their house only do about 12 inches. So if you got bigger than that, you're gonna have to find more of an industrial place to plane it. And they can run it through a couple times and have it perfectly flush. They don't have to be. These aren't perfectly flush. They'll move a little bit, but that kind of is what gives them character. I want them to kind of look like they've been around forever and that they were not commercially made. So I kind of want them to have a little bit of imperfections in them. I'm gonna take a belt sander, industrial belt sander, I'll show you, and I just sand it down with, I'll start usually with 40 grit, then go to 60 and then to 80. And you just sand it till you get about the smoothness that you want. Then you'll take a Sharpie and you'll simply draw what pattern you want. I'm gonna make this one, it's gonna come up here, and I'm gonna try to do a curved handle because I haven't done one. And then this handle I'll kind of round it. So I'm trying to make it, it'll kind of look like, come up like this, and curve when it's done. So we'll see how it goes, but you can stain them, but if you're gonna use them for food product, then usually you just coat them with any kind of mineral oil will do it. If you're using them and sometimes as you use them, they'll get fruit stains on them from strawberries or berries. And when you get that, all you do is sand them down again roughly and then put another coat of mineral oil. These are kind of dry. They need another coat of mineral oil on them, and then they'll be good to go. But I'll show you how you do it. It's pretty simple. It's kind of fun. You can be as creative as you like. Jana, my wife, she drew out these patterns of this one. This one, you just I just simply cut it, sanded it, and then took a hole saw and sawed through there with that. Just an attachment you put on your drill, and you can drill holes of various sizes all the way through the wood. But anyway, we'll get to it. All right, so the next phase is you're just gonna kind of want to come in and figure out what you want to do with it. And what I'm gonna do is I took a pencil. Like I said, I'm gonna make a handle. And so I drew with a pencil and kind of got everything where I wanted. And then when I felt like that's what I wanted, I put ahead and put the Sharpie on it. If I come back after I get the bark off and I decide that's not the shape I want, or I need to make it longer, I'll just sand off that Sharpie and start over. But most of the time when you do it, As you can see here, how the wood kind of curves down, you're gonna want to design it so the live edge portion of it right here is gonna be on the top side, so that's exposed for people to see. So you don't have to do it that way, but that's typically how most people do it. If you want it a little wider, then obviously you'd flip it over and you'd make that design. But most of them are designed to be used on either side, so it's just kind of personal preference. But pitter patter, we'll get at her and see what we come up with. We have the charcuterie board, and all I'm going to do is, you can see right here, right along here is kind of where the live edge is separated with the bark. Here's another angle where you maybe can see it better, but I'm getting that putty knife right between the live edge of the wood and the bark and simply running it down like a blade and chipping it off. It's pretty simple to do. You just kind of have to just go slow and try not to gouge the wood as much, but we've got other things that we're going to use once we're done to get the rest of it off. You're just kind of wanting to get most of the big pieces off. Then you're going to come in and you're going to use a jigsaw, and you're just going to want to go slow and steady and just cut out the handle or any kind of pieces that you want, and then get it ready to shape with the sander. As you can see, I've gotten most of the bark off of it. It took me maybe 15 minutes to do that. But what I use, I take a grinder and I put a flywheel on it that's 60 grit, and it's just this layered sandpaper, and I'll use it to take it off in short order. Okay, so you can see here how it's kind of starting to take shape. I didn't take all of the bark off. I left a little bit. I've got some grooves here from the grinder, which isn't that great, but I'll take it off with the speed sander. And then these are from the actual chainsaw when we originally ripped it. And those you can leave, but I'm gonna take them out probably with the belt sander and just kind of start shaping it. Yeah, here I'm just taking the grinder, and anytime you work with a grinder, it's traveling at a high rate of speed, and they're very dangerous. So you always want to take all the safety precautions of wearing goggles or safety glasses, and it's putting out a lot of fine fibrous dust from the wood. So you always want to wear a mask. You don't want to get that stuff up in your lungs. So here's the belt sander, and you're just going to go 40, 60 grit, 80 grit, and you're just trying to take any kind of uneven spots out of it or any blemishes that you don't want. And it's just basically keep the thing moving. You want to pretty much go with the grain. If you're taking more off, then sometimes you kind of got to really kind of go across the grain to knock it down and then come back and level it smooth going with the grain. It's probably hard to tell, but this guy's really out of balance. We're going to have to really take it off to get him to set a little bit better. And it doesn't have to set perfectly flush. You just want it a little bit better than that when you're sitting on the table putting your food out. As you can see here, I've got the front sanded, I've got the back sanded. I've just done it with 40 so far, but I'll come back with 60, 80, 100. Some of the people online, they'll do 220 to 300. They want it butter smooth. Mine, we're just gonna put meat, cheese and crackers and fruit on it. So I like it a little more rustic. I actually will leave these little places where the worm has eaten in the bark. I think it kind of gives it character, and that's about it. I've got a little sponge sander. It's just basically a sponge that comes in different grit of sandpaper, and I'll sand off the bark and get that out of there as well, just to kind of clean it up. You can also take a speed sander, which is just a square vibrating sander, and clean it up as well. Here I'm just taking the grinder with the sandpaper wheel on it, and I'm just using it to kind of shape, try not to take too much off the top, and just kind of round the corner the way I kind of want it, feathering it kind of, and then I'll hand sand it at the final, but just kind of shaping it to make this round. I found that kind of worked the best. Then before your final sand, you're going to want to get it wet and let it dry. And by getting it wet, it just raises all those little hairs in the wood. And so it'll help you get that buttery smooth feel you're looking for. All right, here's the final product. Like I said, I was planning on using this side, but I'll probably end up using this side. So it's all sanded down. I'll take tack cloth to it, and then I'll add mineral oil to season it. And what you want to do with the mineral oil is it's just basically spread it out and spread it on there. Literally, I've seen YouTube videos where people just bathe it in a tub and get it soaked, and then they let it dry, and then you basically soak it again, and you keep doing that. And then I'm going to try this stuff called walrus wax. Here's the final product. Handle turned out better than I expected. Flip it over. This is the other side. It didn't, still has some character to it, but it didn't pull out the characteristics that you typically see with the walnut wood, but still a pretty cool piece. And then here's the others that I just re-oiled. I've got another one, but it's out on loaner. But pretty cool little project. Like I said, it took me about 2.5 hours to do it from start to finish, and I was filming as well. But anyway, not too hard, just a lot of sanding basically is what it comes down to. But like and subscribe and hit the little bell if you'd like notifications on the next video coming.